too a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report, episode 99 of the Multiverse Report. Hell yeah. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from a New York City sewer to the Kashyykian home of Chewie, Malla, and Lumpy. That's right. My name is Mike Gibson. With me as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, I may not be going to Kashyyyk, but next week I'll be in New York City, so maybe I'll pop down in a sewer and see some turtles.
Oh, yeah. Check them out.
Yeah. I don't think it works
I'm
that
not
way,
going.
but...
You never know. You never know. Funny you should say that because I'm not going to Kashyyyk, but I might meet Chewbacca next week on my trip to Walt Disney World. I'm going with my family, and I'm very excited to go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge,
Absolutely.
Batuu, Black Spire Outpost on the remote world of Batuu.
Yeah. I
really,
would be remiss if I didn't say I was jealous.
I am out of my mind excited. We've been like on almost not a full lockdown, but like we're getting paranoid. We're like, we've known some people that have gone and either gotten sick while they're there or like right before they go or whatever. So we are just like, you wear a mask if you're around anybody. Like, we don't want to get sick. We want to get there. This trip is expensive.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get there and let's not be sick. We get sick on the way home, fine. But I'm going to Disney's Hollywood Studios. I'm going to Galaxy's Edge. I'm building a lightsaber. I'm meeting Chewbacca if possible. Whatever. I'm getting hassled by a stormtrooper. That's what I want.
My first trip to Disney World as a child, apparently our whole family was sick.
Oh, rough.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I was like 3, 4, so didn't remember much of it, but my parents just, completely complain about that all the time.
Well, at least it didn't ruin it for you.
Yeah.
So
I also questioned them as to why they were bringing a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old to Disney, and found out my parent, or apparently my grandparents had a place in Cocoa Beach, so they were just like, yeah, we went over there for the day. It's like, that makes much more sense than like you taking a trip down there.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me. Getting late already. Sheesh.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's relatively early by our standards.
No, I know it is. You're just yawning directly into the microphone and trying to make an excuse for it. And I don't have one. But anyway, welcome to another full episode of the Multiverse Report. We are talking about some actual Star Wars stuff later. Some Star Wars stuff that I don't know that I ever thought we'd really be talking about in earnest on this show. But we're starting it off with I feel like it's a property that we don't talk about often, but we may be doing more of, similarly to like when Lord of the Rings started kicking off with Rings of Power, and now like we're talking about Indiana Jones more often because Dial of Destiny's coming out. Folks, this summer there's a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie coming out. New animated film produced by Seth Rogen. Is it Rogen or Rogen?
I've never figured it out.
I don't know either. But we've talked about it in the past. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and they've been working on it for a long time. They announced the vocal cast of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie Mutant Mayhem, a mix of known actors and relatively unknown actors for this Seth Rogen produced film. Nicholas Cantu will voice Leonardo. Brady Noon will be Raphael. Micah Abbey as Donatello. Shaman Brown Jr. as Michelangelo. Ayo Edibiri as April O'Neil. Now, I may be ignorant. I don't know who any of those people are.
Well, you should. You may have listened to at least one of them or a couple of them with your kid.
Who's that? What?
So, sorry, on the wrong. I pulled up the wrong notes sheet. What do you want from me? I was trying to edit while also podcasting. Sure. It works well. Yeah. So Nicholas Cantu is. Did you ever watch the Freemaker Adventures with your son?
No, we have not watched the Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventures.
Yep.
No.
So he is Rowan Freemaker, one of the kids.
Oh.
And then also, if you've ever seen Dragon's Rescue Riders. in the How to Train Your Dragons franchise. He is the voice of Dak, one of the main protagonists. And then Brady Noon, I can't remember. He was in something as well that I recognized, but the Nicholas Cantu, when I saw that in the notes, I was like, that looks familiar. I got to look him up on IMDb, and it was apparently you stared enough credits with a 5-year-old, and you pick stuff up like that.
Yeah, there you go. Remind me after the show to ask you about Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventures, because I really don't know anything about it or what it is or when it takes place or anything. But I would love more Star Wars to be able to watch with my son, so for sure. However, those are like the 5 main characters you would think, and the surrounding characters full of people that you might recognize. Very excited about the first one. Jackie Chan voicing Master Splinter.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Seth Rogen himself as Bebop, John Cena as Rocksteady, Giancarlo Esposito as Baxter Stockman.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah. Hannibal Buress as Genghis Frog, Rose Byrne as Leatherhead, Ice Cube as Superfly, Natasha Demetriou as Wingnut, Maya Rudolph as Cynthia Uttram, Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko, and Post Malone as Ray Fillet. Now, there's a couple of those characters that I'm fuzzy on.
Oh boy.
Leatherhead, I'm fuzzy on. Superfly, I'm fuzzy on. Wingnut seems familiar, but I can't really describe who that would be. Cynthia Ultram, I don't know. Mondo Gecko, I remember. Genghis Frog, I remember. Ray Fillet, I remember. Because I believe he was just a big manta ray.
Yes, he was.
I think.
So Wingnut was a giant mutated bat.
Yes.
That was
okay.
A little off, like
right.
So, I mean, name kind of suggests.
Right.
Superfly, as you can imagine, would be a mutated fly.
Fly, but not the Baxter Stockman mutated fly.
Correct.
Okay. I guess that's the only fly that I am familiar with is the Baxter Stockman fly.
Leatherhead was a crocodile.
Oh, okay. I remember Leatherhead. Okay, I do remember Leatherhead. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mondo Gecko was like the fact that they're adding that they're leaning into the cartoon and that they're adding all these characters in, it's just great.
I know, it is great. And I think that's where like the Mutant Mayhem part of the title comes in, or the subtitle of this movie, because it's not just going to be about the turtles mutating. It like I never saw the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies. They looked bad to me. I heard they were bad, and I was not interested in them at all. But so I don't know if those movies built out the world of other mutant animals, but it seems like that's what this is going for, more leaning into the cartoon, giving us Baxter Stockman, giving us Bebop and Rocksteady even, and Genghis Frog, Mondo Gecko, all those.
I don't know Cynthia Uttram at all.
Neither do I. No idea who that is. But also, like, there's been decades of Ninja Turtles lore that I have not been a part of at all. So I'm sure there are people out there being like, what do you mean you don't know Cynthia Uttram? She's one of the biggest characters around. She's integral. I know at one point there was a female Ninja Turtle introduced. There was a 5th one.
Yeah. I cannot remember her name. The latest run of Ninja Turtles, the IDW imprint, is she's featured in it as well. Like there's 5 turtles, and it's really well done.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Does she still? I don't know anything about her. I don't even know her name. But what I do know about her, I believe her color bandana is just like a light blue.
No, it's yellow.
Oh, is it yellow? Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure I saw like a light blue turtle, and I was like, that is dumb. You should pick a different color because there's other colors out there you could pick.
There are many other colors.
Yeah, it's just like a shade of one of the other turtles' bandanas.
Oh, apparently that was in live action of some sort.
Which was the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I
don't remember being live action.
Huh. I don't know. Venus? Weird. I don't know. I'm not up on my Ninja Turtles lore, apparently.
My Ninja Turtles lore stops probably around 1994.
Yeah, I'm probably right with you until I picked up The Last Ronin, which is actually really good.
Yeah, you're leaps and bounds ahead of me because you've read something in the last 20 years.
Right. And it happened to be in the last 3 months.
Yeah, yeah.
And only has one turtle in it.
Right. Yeah, so there we go. Voice cast for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I'm excited about this movie. It seems fun. I feel like Seth Rogen knows how to produce a good film. He knows he gets a tone that he wants, something that's fun and funny. And I don't know, I feel like this is going to feel more like the Turtles that I grew up with, which is probably the Turtles that he grew up with, which is probably why he's making a movie like this. So I can't say that I'm going to run out and see this in the theater, but I'll probably, depending on the reviews or what it's rated, maybe I'll watch it with my son, Sam, sometime.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's one thing we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be like gritty and more for adults, or if it's going to be like, nah, this is a PG movie for kids, And I kind of hope it's a PG movie.
I can imagine with that cast and if you've got Mondo Gecko and Ray Fillet in it, it's probably going to be a solid PG.
Lean more toward the kids.
Yep.
Which I think works. I mean, that it worked the first time. The Ninja Turtles were enormous in the early 90s, late 80s, when they exploded, because they were geared towards kids. And I think the Michael Bay stuff partially didn't work because it was trying to make a gritty reboot of just inherently very silly characters. So we shall see how it goes. I think it comes out in
August 4th.
Oh, August. Okay. Late summer superhero fair.
That seems like a perfect time for a good popcorn movie.
It really does. Yeah. Speaking of popcorn movies, but ones that come out much sooner than August, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. Tickets are on sale right now. Comes out, I think, March 17th. St. Patrick's Day, I believe. They're that Friday, 15th, 17th, somewhere around there.
Comes out on Friday. That means you can see it on Tuesday before.
Yeah, right.
I feel like that still boggles my mind that the midnight showings and all that are gone.
Yeah, movies don't actually come out on Fridays anymore. Yeah. Comes out on Fridays, but you can get a whole week of sneak preview showings that are just regular movie times or whatever.
Yeah, when you can go and see a movie at 6:00 on the day before, it comes out the day before.
Yeah, it comes out on Thursday. Just say that. There's been a lot of talk. Obviously, we spent a lot of time in the last 2 months talking about the shakeups at Warner Brothers and DC, and James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over the DCU. A lot of talk about who's going to stay, who's going to go. We've heard some inklings that Shazam will stick around as Zachary Levi and David F. Sandberg as the director, creator, writer of these movies. And we got a little bit more clarity on that, I guess. On Twitter this past week, there was a fan that asked David F. Sandberg, basically was kind of being a whiny, entitled fan, saying, all this drama around James Gunn taking over, people leaving, people going, it's really got to put a sour taste in my mouth, and it's making me not even want to see this movie anymore. Can you just give us a straight answer? Is Shazam going to be moving forward in the DCU or not? It's kind of one, that's a very whiny, annoying, entitled question to be asking.
Don't be a
director. Don't be a dick. You're a douchebag. See the movie or don't see the movie. That's up to you. But anyway, his response was the following. Will Shazam be moving on to the DCU? He responded, he definitely won't if people don't go see the movie. What I've been told is that there's nothing in the Shazam films that contradicts the future plans for DC. So the possibility for more Shazam is there. And if that's what you want, your best bet is to go see the film.
Makes sense.
Perfect sense to me. Perfect sense to me. And yeah, I think the first Shazam movie, at least, kind of bends over backwards to place itself in a world where these other heroes exist, but not actually confirm that, it's Henry Cavill's Superman or that it's Ben Affleck as Batman. They mentioned these heroes that straight up in the first Shazam movie. one of the characters even owns a Batarang that he bought on eBay or something. Like they firmly exist in a DCU. But they don't, it's not like they talk about General Zod, or he doesn't fight, a Wonder Woman villain or something, like there's nothing that's going to cancel out. They keep it into the Shazam world. So yeah, if this movie does well, there's no reason for it to not move on. And so, I mean, I think this is, you and I have theorized this. This is, a point in our corner for what we think. But I think all these 4 movies that are coming out this year, Shazam 2, Blue Beetle, The Flash, and Aquaman, maybe, there may be different levels of this within each one of those movies, but we could see all of those or parts of all of those movies move forward if the audience wants them to. I think at this point, it's like for those 4 franchises, it is up to the box office and the success of the films and how they are received. So I think if Blue Beetle makes $1 billion, then we're going to see Blue Beetle, that actor and that cast, move forward with James Gunn's DCU. And, we've talked about it with The Flash. If The Flash makes $1 billion, if the public forgives Ezra Miller and The Flash makes a ton of money, we're going to see Ezra Miller continue on, most likely.
Yeah.
Aquaman, I don't know, because we didn't talk about it. Was it this last week or 2 weeks ago that there were reports of Aquaman Lost Kingdom being
very
terrible.
not good. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess initial test screenings of that movie did not go over well. And so they are, I mean, this is rumor, so take it with a grain of salt, but there was a rumor or report that the test screenings were abysmal and that they are kind of scrambling to make it work somehow. And you know what? James Wan is a talented filmmaker, so I feel like he is someone that can figure out a way to make it work before the release date. And if not, then maybe those Lobo rumors are going to be coming true sooner than later.
Hey, when you gotta get out, you gotta get out.
Yeah. But yeah, you want to see Zachary Levi continue with Shazam? Go see Shazam 2 Fear of the Gods. That's the answer. You want more Blue Beetle? Go see Blue Beetle. You want more Flash? Go see Flash. And that really, that goes for whether or not Zachary Levi returns as Shazam. Even if Shazam 2 makes a bunch of money, even if they don't end up going with that actor, they will bring that character into their DCU. They're like, okay, there's trouble with the actor, or there's negative something around the actor, but people clearly love this character because everyone went to see this movie. So we're going to make sure that Shazam shows up in our DCU. Like, I think that's possible too. Like, we're definitely going to see the Flash again. Whether or not it's Ezra Miller, I think depends on a lot of
Ezra Miller.
Of Ezra Miller, and also public opinion regarding the movie, but also them as a person. So, that's all up in the air. If rave reviews come back for Ezra Miller's performance as Barry Allen in The Flash, then we'll maybe get more Ezra Miller. But if you're like, yeah, the movie was great, but we still hate Ezra Miller, then I'll be like, okay, well, we're going to do another Flash. He's going to show up in something, but it's not going to be, it all depends on audience reaction and box office money. So you heard it from David Sandberg's mouth, people. If you want more Shazam, go see Shazam. It's out of his hands at this point. He's made his movie. Nothing you can do. It's up to you. Go see it. I plan to, for sure.
I still haven't seen the first one, so got to work on that.
Steve, you got to. Steve, it's great. It's so good. It's so good. I got to tell you. And I have told you. And I will tell you again.
It's true. It's on my needs to watch list on HBO Max. So,
well, you should do like do yourself a double feature or something where you watch the first one and then you go see the second one later that day or that night or the next day or something. Make it a weekend. You watch Shazam Friday night, you go see Shazam 2 on Saturday.
That'd be a thing.
And then when we do our reaction, you can get a full full fresh reaction to the perspective of someone who just contrasted the first one to the second one. It'd be great. Our listeners would eat it up.
There you go. I don't know if I'll do it, but that's an idea.
I can't guarantee that our listeners would even eat it up.
Yes, we're just throwing things out there.
I more want you to watch Shazam
right.
more than anything else. I'm just whatever I'm saying right now. I'm just trying to convince you to watch Shazam. All right, one more DC story before blasting off to a galaxy far, far away. Classic, that guy, quote unquote, that guy. You see him in a thing, you're like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy. Clancy Brown. Look him up. You've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what you've seen him in a little bit. But Clancy Brown has joined the Penguin series at HBO Max. And he's not just playing a background actor. He's not just playing a that guy cameo character actor kind of thing.
Right. We're not Steve
Clancy
Buscemi
Brown.
in this.
Yeah. Clancy Brown has joined the Penguin as Salvatore Maroni. Salvatore Maroni is a classic reoccurring character from Batman comics. He's mentioned in The Batman, which the Penguin is a spin-off TV show of The Batman. So it makes sense that he would be in it. Maroni is like a rival crime boss to Carmine Falcone. And in the very well-known The Long Halloween Batman story, which I feel like almost every Batman movie of the last 10 years has drawn inspiration from The Long Halloween. In that story, he is the one responsible for throwing acid in Harvey Dent's face during a court procedure, causing him to become Two-Face. So, where have you seen Clancy Brown? He's certainly no stranger to nerdy pieces of media or comic book adaptations. He's known very well for voicing Lex Luthor in the DC animated universe in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. All those spin-offs, things like that. Superman, the animated series, I believe, as well. It's Clancy Brown. He was also Mr. Freeze in the 2000s The Batman cartoon. He was also Rhino and George Stacy in The Spectacular Spider-Man. And he was Mr. Sinister in Wolverine and the X-Men. He's also he appeared twice as Colonel Ray Schoonover in Netflix's Daredevil and once in The Punisher. He's also in Shawshank Redemption. He's like the main prison guard in Shawshank Redemption. He's been in Lost. He's been in The Flash TV show. And he's been in an episode of The Mandalorian. So he's been all over the place when it comes to nerdery. He plays that big burly guy in I think it's season 1. Or no, it's season 2. 1? Or I don't remember, of Mandalorian, where they're like breaking out of the prison or something. Mandalorian's got to break into a prison and like get someone out. He's like the big burly guy.
Yep.
And yeah, man, Clancy Brown.
Wasn't he the bad guy in Highlander or something too?
Oh, possibly. Like I said, he's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
You recognize him. Everybody does. So this is like a really important character in the Batman mythos, especially when you think of the Batman, how it was very detective-y, very noir, and more focused almost on organized crime in the city than like some more of a theatrical like Joker or something that's, wearing costume. I mean, the Riddler, but that was less of like a costume and more of just like I'm murdering you.
Yep.
Because I'm crazy. But a heavy focus on like the Carmine Falcone thing and the whole Renewal Act and all that stuff. And they talk about Maroni being like a big drug bust. He was running drugs in Gotham City, and that was like a whole part where they busted him, but then Carmine Falcone just took over the drug running business, and they're still like, he used it to like corrupt the GCPD and all these other things.
Yep.
So like Maroni is a pivotal character in that movie who we don't ever actually see. They hear his name a lot because he's pivotal, like something that happened to him is pivotal to that plot. I think we're going to get more of that in the Penguin series, and I wouldn't be surprised if he then shows up in the Batman Part 2 as this character. And Steve, I got to say, knowing that he is responsible in The Long Halloween for throwing acid in Harvey Dent's face, and knowing that one of the Riddler's victims in the first Batman movie was the Gotham City District Attorney, seemingly Gotham City is going to need a new district attorney. Who better than a young, fresh-faced, handsome-looking Harvey Dent that by the end of the Batman Part 2 isn't so fresh-faced and handsome-looking?
It's mildly been done before, but we'll give it to you.
It has been done before. I mean, we've seen Two-Face in live action 2 previous times. But I think, man, Aaron Eckhart is so good as Two-Face in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that my train of thought just like full stopped when I had to be like, shit, he was really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bummer that he didn't. I think it's a bummer that he died at the end of Dark Knight and it didn't continue on in some way. I think that, I don't know, it would have been cool if he was still alive. And also Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever,
Right.
like a cartoon version of the character that really didn't do it justice whatsoever. Should have been Billy D. Williams. What was I say? I don't know. I think if they, I think it's inevitable that we're going to see characters that we've seen before.
Oh,
obviously, we've already seen the Joker again. We've seen Riddler again. We've seen Catwoman again. We've seen all these characters more than one time. So,
well, and it's not like Harvey Dent is a minor character in the mythos. Like,
exactly,
he's pretty evergreen.
Exactly, he's a major character. They could certainly do it. They could certainly do it a different way. And if they are doing the courtroom and the acid in the courtroom thing, like that's something that they showed. I think that's in Batman Forever as in like a flashback on a like 2 years ago. Someone threw acid in Harvey Dent's face, and they like show him in they show a really quick thing. Yeah, exactly, of it happening. But I think they could do it very well, and I think they could really build up a strong friendship between Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne, which they haven't really done in the movies yet. But in Long Halloween, they talk about Batman and Harvey Dent work together for a long time before the Two-Face thing ends up happening towards the end of that story. So it really kind of cements them as more or less friends. They trust each other. They work together. They're in this together to try to take down Carmine Falcone in that story. And, it ends up leading to Dent's corruption. And I hope that happens because I love Two-Face as a character. I think that the Dark Knight version is very good, but I also, it's like a lot of superhero movies besides Marvel movies, DC movies do this a lot, where they give you a great villain and they just kill him at the end of the movie. I mean, that was every Batman movie until Forever, I guess. Like it's every Batman movie. Even Superman 2 as well. Like, kill Zod at the end of Man of Steel, or kill Zod at the end of Superman 2, or Zod's gone, or or in Spider-Man, like the pre-MCU Marvel movies did that too.
Yeah.
Green Goblin dies, Doc Ock dies in the second one, and they just just keep him around. I would love to see Green Goblin come back in Spider-Man 5, or you don't have to kill him, everybody.
Oh, but they
and
do.
then the MCU goes the opposite direction where nobody dies,
right?
Or one person dies every 15 movies or something.
Yep.
I would like a little bit of a balance there. Like some people can die, but give me 2 movies where Two-Face is in it.
Yeah.
I would like that. That'd be cool.
Along the lines of characters that have died that Clancy Brown is playing. I was looking up his IMDb. In the nerd world, he is Savage Opress.
Oh man, really?
Yep. He is Ryder Azadi in Rebels.
I don't know who that is.
The rebel that helps them out, like the big burly gray-haired guy. Literally looks like Clancy Brown.
Looks like, yes. Okay. Yep. I remember that guy now. Yeah.
And then he's Damien Darkblood in Invincible. The demon detective there.
Yeah, he does a lot of
crazy amount of voice actors.
Crazy amount of voice acting. Yeah.
He was Parallax in that Green Lantern movie.
He was the voice of Parallax, really?
Yep. And for whatever that movie was worth.
Part of me thinks I should watch that Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie again, just because I haven't seen it in a long time. I think maybe a year or so ago, maybe during COVID, I think I started watching it. I think I was really high one night or whatever, and I started watching Green Lantern. I was like, yeah, this is bad. This movie's bad.
Tried to pull a me with Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. But again, it's not it's like I said about Morbius. It's not worse than I think the Venom movies are bad.
Yeah.
But that first Venom movie made $1 billion. I don't think Green Lantern's worse than Venom.
Right.
It's just a bad movie,
Did you know he was Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob?
Clancy Brown was Mr. Krabs?
Yeah.
No, I absolutely did not know that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I'm just scrolling through this now, and it's like
Quintessential character actor. Quintessential that guy character actor. Wow. Wowzers.
Yeah, he was in Recess, the old cartoon.
Oh, wow. He's everywhere, this guy.
Wow. I'm extremely impressed.
Well, and now he's going to be Salvatore Maroni, going toe-to-toe against Colin Farrell's The Penguin, and likely going toe-to-toe against the Batman and possibly Harvey Dent, if I get my way, in the Batman Part 2.
Huh. He was in Pet Sematary, too.
That's true. Yep, he was. I'm
just going to intersperse this entire episode with Clancy Brown trivia.
Sure. Yeah. I hope that I get my way. I hope that he plays Maroni in the Batman Part 2. I hope that this isn't a thing where he gets killed in the Penguin series. I feel like he's too good of an actor for them to bring him in and just kill him off. Like, I hope that he makes it to the big screen, because I don't know how they want to build these series into, like, boost the movies and not just have them be separate things. Like, they want him to really be a part of it. So hopefully he sticks around. And he's in jail right now, so it's not like he's going to be a real threat to the Penguin, I guess, during his series, unless he gets paroled or something. Like, who knows?
Right.
But as heard in dialogue from the Batman, he was busted and thrown into Blackgate Penitentiary, I believe. So I gotta watch that movie again too. Man, there's so much I have to watch and so much I want to rewatch.
Well, now that we're out of February, you might have a minute.
Yeah, I should shout that out before I forget about it. I've mentioned on the last couple episodes that I've been busy. I haven't seen Ant-Man still. I've been working on my February songwriting project. Supposed to write and record 14 songs in the month. I wrote and recorded 20. The first 14 are out already on my Bandcamp page. That's carolskid.bandcamp.com. Carol with a K, carolskid.bandcamp.com. And also, I believe that they are starting to show up on major streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify and all that stuff. So you can check that out as well. Stream it there, or you can buy it or download it from my Bandcamp page. And it's called February 8, Part 1, The Perfect Nothing. So check that out. And the other 6 are going to come out in early April. So I'm sure I'll plug that as well, too. I just thought 20 songs was too much for one album. I feel like no one's got the patience for a double album anymore. Like, that just doesn't happen. No one cares. Yeah. So anyway, speaking of my February album, and one of the songs that I wrote on that February album that is available now on my Bandcamp page, carolskid.bandcamp.com. One of those songs happens to be about a Star Wars character. You'll have to go listen to the album to find out which one. It's not going to be the one that you think it is. Definitely is not. Moving into some Star Wars territory. And this is definitely not a Star Wars story that I thought we'd be talking about. Not one that I want to talk about, really. But there is a new Star Wars documentary in the works, going to debut very soon, called A Disturbance in the Force. Great name for a documentary that is focused on the infamous Star Wars holiday special. Yeah, that one. That one, not the Lego one. Not the Lego holiday special. The Star Wars holiday special. That's the one.
The infamous
the infamous
78? 80? Somewhere in there.
I think, 78, 79.
It was like right after the first drop.
Empire came out in 80, right?
Yeah.
And
so
Jedi
it would have been
was
before that.
Yeah. Or 80. Was Jedi 83 or Jedi 80? Okay.
77, 80, 83.
Yeah. Wild. So I don't know. Are there any listeners that don't know about the Star Wars holiday special? Should we talk about that or haven't? There might be listeners that there might be listeners that haven't seen it, but I expect most of them have heard of it. But I guess we should probably just go through a quick description of it.
There are no amount of drugs that can make this thing make sense.
Yeah. So in the late after Star Wars came out, the fandom was so hot for more Star Wars, and it was going to be years before the next one got off the ground. So I think it was CBS talked to Lucasfilm, George Lucas, about doing a Star Wars holiday special, and George Lucas gave them the story for it. It's going to be about Wookiees. They're celebrating this thing called Life Day. Christmas doesn't exist in the Star Wars galaxy, but Life Day does. And Han Solo's got to get Chewbacca back to Kashyyyk to celebrate Life Day with his family. And while they're waiting for him, a bunch of weird stuff happens to his family. We meet Chewie's wife, Malla.
Yep.
His
Malla
son.
Tobuck.
Yep. His son, Lumpa Waru, who also is known as Lumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad. Or is it Mala's dad?
I think
Grandpa.
I don't know.
I don't remember his name.
Itchy. Yep.
This holiday special features cameos from Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and a lot of other. It's like a variety show, and there's a lot of other like late 70s stars at the time. There's a lot of sequences that don't make sense at all. It's the first canonical appearance of Boba Fett. That's something to say for it.
Yeah,
But,
in animated form,
in animated form.
riding a dinosaur,
Yes.
not a rancor.
This special is two hours long. 2 hours long. And I say this with the utmost sincerity. It is horrible.
Yes.
Just horrible. It is impossible to overstate how bad the Star Wars holiday special is. And like, if you're listening to this and you've never seen it and you've never heard of it and you don't know what I'm talking about, you might be thinking like it's Star Wars. There's no way that bad. It can't be worse than The Phantom Menace, or it can't be worse than whatever your least favorite Star Wars movie is. It is.
Oh,
It is.
It's horrible.
It's so bad.
Like,
it's
can't
so
watch the whole
bad.
thing, and it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, go find it.
Yep. You can watch the entire thing on YouTube because Lucasfilm has destroyed every other physical or official copy of it, or owns it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to get a look into that in this documentary called A Disturbance in the Force. I don't believe that there's any cast or crew from the original that is going to appear in the documentary, but instead it has gone, there's going to be interviews with like fans of Star Wars or the holiday special, specifically Weird Al Yankovic, Kevin Smith, Seth Green, and the late Gilbert Gottfried all appear in the documentary talking about the Star Wars holiday special, how it impacts them. There's a trailer for it, which does not show any scenes from the holiday special. And I'm interested to see, because the trailer, I think the trailer makes a joke about how they weren't allowed to show any scenes from the holiday special in the trailer. But does that mean they're not allowed to show any scenes from it in the actual documentary? That seems
Possibly.
crazy. They're not. That would, but I don't know. But if it's also on YouTube and no one's taking it down, then maybe they can just use the YouTube clips or something, you know,
Oh, yeah.
the CBS. Maybe there's like a loophole there because it's technically CBS and it aired. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, I'm going over in my brain how bad the costuming was and how bad everything was. Like the Wookiees in this are the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I know.
Itchy, I wasn't his face like all scrunched up and like weird.
Yeah.
And
He also watches
yeah.
Wookiee porn at
Yes.
one point.
with like doesn't like Lumpy walk in
Really?
or something, or there's some
Possibly.
yeah. There's a whole lot of weird that
Hey
happens.
guys, that really happens. I'm not making a joke. That really happens.
100%.
That really happens. Carrie Fisher sings a song as Princess Leia and is just high, so much on drugs. It's
Yes.
clear that she is on, I don't know what drugs, but she's on them. Whatever drugs
All
there
of
are,
them.
she's on them.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
ugh.
you can tell Harrison Ford hates being there. You can tell there's like a real animosity from Harrison Ford about being there. It's bad, guys. It's bad. Bad.
It's
But
like
will I-
go into it, pull it up on YouTube, and go into it full blown MST3K. Just like expect nothing and expect to be able to roast the hell out of it.
Yeah. I believe some of the guys that used to do Mystery Science Theater 3000 do a thing called Riff Tracks now.
Oh yeah, yep.
Where you can download audio tracks of them making jokes and sync it up to like movies, and it's like modern movies you can do with, because of it's a downloadable thing, they can do whatever movie they want. It's like up to you to sync up the sound. And I do believe that they do one for the Star Wars Holiday Special. So
that's great.
Check that out. It will definitely make it easier to watch for sure, because it is a hard watch. I remember I guess a lot of years ago now, I was at a friend of mine was having a Christmas party, and I was at their house, and they threw on the Star Wars Holiday Special, and my dear friend Mark Sonheimer and his girlfriend at the time, now wife, Kate, were there. And Kate at the time had never seen a Star Wars movie. And this was the first Star Wars thing she'd ever seen. And I remember seeing her and go, "Are they all like this?" And I think everyone in the room went, no, please don't let this tarnish your openness to watching Star Wars. Like, you need to temper your expectations in a different way than that sentence is normally used for.
Jefferson Starship is normally not in Star Wars, nor is B. Arthur.
Right. Yeah, Art Carney is in it as well.
Ken confirmed that the Carrie Fisher audio is on YouTube, the whole scene.
Oh yeah, well, the whole thing, the whole 2 hours is on YouTube. So check it out. Also, shout out, speaking of, I mentioned the wonderful podcast Star Wars Minute the other day. I mentioned it.
We've been podcasting that long today?
Yeah, I mentioned it 10 minutes ago. Another Star Wars holiday special review, I should say, is there's a great podcast called Stuff You Should Know. It's been going on for years. They covered just a bunch of random topics and tell you how those things work or how they came to be or whatever. Everything from like cinnamon to Pez dispensers to, historical events.
Yeah. And Josh and Chuck do their research, and they're very well, it's extremely well produced.
And the information is disseminated in a very casual way. So like you or I can understand what they're saying. They're not, the two of them aren't scientists. They're just, they research the topic. And they did one a few years ago about the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's a really good listen that gives you just a little bit of behind the scenes stuff and just kind of go over how bad it is. It's impossible to, like I said, it's impossible to overstate really how bad the Star Wars Holiday Special is. So that's a whole thing. I gotta say, wild. But I would love to watch this documentary.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially if it does give us any kind of insight into like the hows and the whys, and did Carrie Fisher only appear if she could sing a song? Like, why is she singing at all? You know, like, what does any of this have to do with anything?
Right.
What is going on here?
Why is Itchy watching disco porn?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. These are mysteries of the world, Mike.
They really are, and we're out to solve them. Speaking of Star Wars, my birthday was this past weekend, and usually, I just want to say this real quick because I thought it was cool. I said, we didn't have any like huge plans for my birthday, but I told my wife, I was like, I would like to watch a movie with you on Saturday night, which is my birthday. But I want you to pick it. And I was like, here, I gave her like 4 choices. I was like, we can watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, we can watch That Thing You Do, we can watch The Suicide Squad, or Scream, or any Star Wars movie. So like, you pick.
Right.
And then also my son, we do a movie night with my son like once a weekend. Sometimes it's Friday, sometimes it's Saturday, depending on what's going on. Friday night we couldn't do it because I was somewhere else, but Saturday, my actual birthday, it was movie night, and he goes, "But you should pick the movie." And I was like, "Okay, well, I want it to be a Star Wars movie, and it's going to either be A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi. So what do you want to pick, buddy?" And he said, "A New Hope." So we watched A New Hope, and then my wife picked Rogue One to watch. So I watched A New Hope with my son, and then I watched almost all of Rogue One. My wife got tired and had to go to bed, so I paused it. But then after she went to bed, I watched all of Empire Strikes Back, and then today, we had a big day, so my wife and I were exhausted, and we were like, "Hey, buddy, we're doing another movie night," just because we needed to like sit down for a while. And he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "What movie do you want to watch?" He goes, "Return of the Jedi," and I was like, "Yes, amazing."
Check.
So Yeah. So in 2 days, I've watched 3.5 Star Wars movies,
That's
all
awesome.
within the original trilogy timeline. Just living my best life over here, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Great.
Mine
Very excited about it.
after 2 days of skiing, mine opted for Muppet Babies.
Oh, nice. Muppet Babies is good.
It's great, but I've seen them all about 35 times now because I have a 5-year-old.
The rebooted Muppet Babies, I assume?
The new version.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna tie both those things together right now.
Oh boy.
I'm a few years older than you, so I don't know if you remember this, but when I was a kid, the original Muppet Babies was on. There was one episode that was a Star Wars episode.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That really, I think I saw that before I saw any actual Star Wars movie.
Possibly.
But they actually had clips from some of the movies in there. Like they would like open a door and there'd be like TIE fighters flying through like the closet door or whatever. I'd be like,
oh yeah.
Ah! And I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like I don't know if, I guess I don't know if that's available. Is the original Muppet Babies on Disney Plus? If it is, I would watch that episode tonight.
So there's one in the new Muppet Babies. There's one scene where I can't remember what I think they're pretending they're on a starship, and all of a sudden TIE fighters start coming at them on the screen.
Oh, amazing.
And I'd assume a nice homage back to that. And my son looks over at me. He's like, "Dad, TIE fighters." I'm like, "I did good."
That's great.
Good job, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just excited that. Oh, dude, I texted you this. It was great. My son has seen A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. He has seen Phantom Menace, and he has seen Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
And he knows that at the end of Attack of the Clones, Anakin and Padme get married secretly, right? And now we're watching Clone Wars. We just finished season 1 of Clone Wars this week.
Mm-hmm.
So we're watching A New Hope. And every once in a while, I'm like, now remember, buddy, that like in the beginning when like Leia's talking to Vader and she's be like whatever, I don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah. And she's like, he's like, to the left, Rebel Alliance and a traitor, take her out.
Yep.
I was like, now think about it, buddy. That's her dad.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know, and he doesn't know. Like they're father and daughter, they're talking to each other. They don't know that. Just keep that in mind. It's kind of cool if you think of it like. And so later, during like some random scene, he's watching like a classic kid. He's on the floor with his head in his hands like this, with his feet kicked up behind. And he like picks his head up and he turns and looks at me and goes, "Wait a second." And I immediately paused and I was like, "Oh, buddy, I am so excited for the next words that are about to come out of your mouth. Like you're about to ask, like you're making connections that has caused you to ask
are firing
about Star Wars." And I'm like, "Yes, dude, I am so excited to answer this question with you." And he goes, "Well, if Darth Vader is Luke's dad, who is Luke's mom?" I was like, "Oh, good question, buddy. Who do you think it is?" He goes, "I don't know." I'm like, "Okay, well, who is Darth Vader really?" He goes, "Anakin Skywalker." I said, "Yeah, okay, you're right." I go, "Who are your parents?" And he goes, "You?" He goes, "Mike and Rachel." I said, "Right. And me and mommy are what?" He goes, "In love." And I was like, "Yeah, but like when you're in love, what? We are what?" He goes, "Married." I go, "Okay, so," and before I even said anything, he goes, "Oh, what?" And just like laid down on the floor in a way that was like, I can't, what? Like his mind was blown. His mind was blown that
great.
he had already met Luke and Leia's mom and Padme Amidala. It was insane. I just loved it so much. It was the best. Just the best.
Yeah, we had the Leia reveal moment in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, he had never seen the end. Oh, that's right.
So,
he only watched part of Return of the Jedi. Oh, how did he take the brother-sister thing?
He didn't pick up on it at first. Then he was like, "Oh, okay." And then then it goes, from there it goes into the whole Vader Palpatine thing, which he did surprisingly well with. I was amazed. Usually he's very skittish, and it was tense, but he got through it and was like, "That was really good." I'm like, yeah. And then he was obsessed with what they were doing to Vader's body at the end.
Burning.
Yeah, trying to explain a funeral pyre to a 5-year-old. Very difficult.
Well, you can also say I mean, Anakin appears as a Force ghost at the end.
Oh, yeah.
So it's possible that he disappeared and that Luke was just burning the suit.
Right.
That's possible. She could say that. He just wants to burn the suit so no one else finds it or something.
Yeah, it was just like, it's on, he did it in honor of, his dad turning back to the light. Yeah. He's like, Darth Vader's a good guy? I'm like, well...
no. Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, really hard to make that case for him showing up as a Force ghost at the end in Jedi robes because
sometimes bad people can do good things, buddy.
Yeah, but if you're like a horrible bad guy and then you do one good thing, does that redeem all of the children that you killed?
Right. If you've killed half the galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, like Deadpool murders the Marvel Universe. That's just Darth Vader's life.
Darth Vader's story. Yeah, exactly.
Just like we're killing everybody. It's fine.
Yeah. Also, right before I came down to start recording this, I had some time. I didn't have anything to watch really that I could, I didn't have an hour or whatever to watch a full episode of something, but I jumped back into that Industrial Light and Magic documentary that's on Disney Plus that I had never finished. And man, that is super, super interesting. I just love it so much. Talking about how they did like the face melting and Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff. Like, it's just all this such cool stuff. All the matte paintings are just gorgeous. Like, oh man, it's so cool. Yeah. So check that. I don't know. I would say check that out if you haven't. Anything else you want to say about Star Wars before we move into comics?
No, but you being able to watch things again made me want to remind you again to watch The Last of Us because holy shit, it's good.
I have watched one further episode of The Last of Us, so I've watched 4 instead of 3.
So you're halfway through the Sam and Henry arc.
Yes, we just at the very end of that episode.
Yep,
was when they met them. Yeah. So yeah, starting that, and damn it, yeah, it's so good, so good. Moving on into comics, I thought this was super cool news. As we all know, directly before the pandemic, Disney bought 20th Century Fox, bought all of everything except Fox Sports and Fox News. And that's why you can watch The Simpsons on Disney Plus, because Disney owns that shit now. But as it came to comics, Marvel started publishing Alien comics. I believe they started publishing Predator comics as well. Like, just, okay, we own these things now. We're going to start putting things out. Now they have announced that Marvel is going to launch 20th Century Studios comics this April. So, like, the banner of which they under which they release things like Prey, or like the new Fede Alvarez Alien movie that's being worked on, or the Alien series from Amazon Prime that's being worked on. Like, those are all going to be under the 20th Century Studios banner, not 20th Century Fox, but, just like acknowledging that it's from a different original DNA than actual just Disney. But now 20th Century Studios comics coming out this April, it's going to be like the home of the comic book home for all that kind of IP that was purchased in that merger. The first title is going to be a new ongoing Planet of the Apes series, which I think is cool because I know they're doing a new Planet of the Apes movie, I believe. And that is going to be followed by new launches of Alien and Predator are going to, I think this current Marvel series are probably going to end, and then they're going to be relaunched again on 20th Century Studios comics. And I think that's smart. I don't know. I think those are the three confirmed titles so far that will be on 20th Century Studios comics. Other possible ones that the article I read brought up the fact that Boom Studios currently is putting out books for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and Firefly, all of which are 20th Century Fox productions. They were on Fox related. They were either on Fox or the CW, owned by Fox. And it seems likely that those will end up migrating to 20th Century Studio comics once the deal with Boom is over or whatever like that. So I think that's really cool. What do you think, Steve?
The fact they're actually taking advantage of the IP that they have, especially when they already have a lot of ongoing books, seems like it's a absolute no-brainer.
Yeah.
Plus, See, it's one of those where I get torn because it's like, right now they're with Boom, and Boom has some, like, they have some skin in the game as to keep these going and keep them going well.
Yeah.
But
Boom
if
is
they
doing
pull
great
them
stuff with
back
them.
to, effectively an arm of Marvel, then is it going to be, is it something where they're just going to cut it, or, if something's not running right, like, it adds a whole different level and dynamic of bureaucracy into it.
You know what? That is a good point. Because I think you're right. I think when you're talking about Buffy, Angel, Firefly, I think those series are less likely to be canceled by Boom Studios than they would be to be canceled by Disney.
Right.
If they're not making if they're not selling like Spider-Man is selling or whatever, they could be canceled. I was gonna say I like giving this crop of IP like its own identity away from Marvel, so it's not just like Marvel Comics presents Alien, and then you expect like, well, is Alien going to show up in Iron Man or whatever? Like, no, it's a separate thing, so it should be a separate thing. Yeah. Also, wasn't Marvel going to take back the Star Wars license from IDW, or did they already do that? Like, is Star Wars possibly going to show up in 20th Century Studios? I guess not.
Star Wars is under Marvel.
Yeah.
Like straight up under Marvel.
Right. But originally the movie Star Wars was a 20th Century Fox production. But like Lucasfilm was acquired by Disney before Fox was acquired by Disney. So I guess it could fit there if they wanted to do that. If they wanted
to pull it out of and keep Marvel as your, superhero
straight up superhero stuff. Yeah. A lot of stuff they could do, I guess, but I think you're right that it's more likely that they'd be like, oh, well, no one's really buying it, so we'll cancel.
Right.
Angel,
that's the only thing that kind of worries me is
because Marvel and Disney are measuring sales numbers differently than Boom Studios is measuring sales numbers. Like, what however many people are buying Buffy or Firefly right now is satisfying Boom Studios. It may not be satisfying to Marvel. It's a good point. It's a good point, Steve.
And yeah, did they so they pulled the non-canon stuff for Star Wars from IDW to Dark Horse.
Yes.
They moved like the Star Wars Adventures and all that sort of thing over to Dark Horse, I believe.
I believe that is true. I remember talking about that with you. Yeah.
Things are moving all over the place.
Things are moving everywhere. I do think it's cool to have 20th Century Studio. I think the name is too long. I think it should just be 20th Century.
Yeah.
Like 20th Century Studios Comics is one word too long. 20th Century Comics is way better. But hey, I don't work for Marvel, so I don't work for Disney. Who am I? What can I say? I can say that this week in your local comic book store, you will find the following: Adventures of Superman, John Kent, #1, new title after Superman, Son of Kal-El has wrapped up. John Kent continues his adventures in Adventures of Superman. John Kent, #1. Amazing Spider-Man, 21. Avengers, #66. Batman, #133. I just read Batman #132. Thought it was good. I don't know. Are you still pulling Batman?
I'm still pulling it, but I don't know. I haven't read it. Caught up on it.
Yeah.
Which
it's good, but like it's all like he's on an alternate world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool, but it's also like I don't know. Get back to the regular one.
Right.
Like I kind of want to see what you do in the regular world, Chip Zdarsky, not just in a
in your own little bubble.
Also because it's like it's the main line. It's Batman. It's not Batman subtitle alternate universe. It is the main line Batman comic right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you're spending a lot of time in an alternate universe for being the flagship book of the DC universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Black Panther #15, Clear #1, Fantastic Four #5, Flash #794. I gotta say the 1 Minute War stuff. I think I've shouted this out before, but I'll say it again. Has been great. I've really been enjoying the 1 Minute War storyline. in pages of Flash lately. We got Godzilla Rivals, Mothra versus Titanosaurus.
Okay.
That sounds like something. Yeah. Moon Knight 21, New Mutants, Lethal Legion #1, Poison Ivy #10. One of the biggest books DC has going right now is Poison Ivy. Very excited about that. It is, like we said, turning into an ongoing this summer. I think we got 2 more months of the regular mini, and it's going to turn into an ongoing. Scarlet Witch, written by hometown boy Steve Orlando. Scarlet Witch #3 comes out this week. Spawn #339. Star Wars Bounty Hunters #32. Star Wars The High Republic #6. Stoneheart #1. The Gimmick #1. Traveling to Mars #4. Two Graves #5. West of Sundown #9. X-23 Deadly Regenesis #1. And X-Men #20. All those books and more showing up at your local comic book store this week. Steve, reading anything this week? Getting anything? Picking up anything?
Picked up the Clayface.
Oh, yeah. That was good. Did you read it yet?
No, it's right there. But it's on the pile. You know how that goes. And then snag Something is Killing 29. So.
Yep, I snagged that as well, but I haven't read 28 yet, so
Same.
I haven't read the Something is Killing the Children. I got 2 to look forward to. Yeah, I got I read the Clayface and the Catwoman. Been behind, so the Catwoman I thought was great, and the Clayface I thought was great as well.
I think I've got the Clayface and Bane left at this point.
Nice. The Clayface really leans into the fact that he is an actor, and I think like people kind of shed that once he's a clay monster. They're just like, oh, he's a clay monster. But like the guy originally, Basil Carlo, even I think in this animated series used Matt Hagen, but like whatever, I'm getting into the weeds. He's an actor. He's like trying to be a successful actor, and this starts off with him using his shape-shifting powers to try to do that. And it kind of takes place in like a Hollywood kind of environment, which I think is unique and also fitting for that character. Yeah, it's really good.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat that. I also got, did I read anything else? No, I picked up a couple other things I haven't read yet. But yeah, I mentioned my February project finally over. But I'm also going to Disney World next week, so I will be probably not reading a ton. So I'll be exhausted every night. So we'll see. We got 2 one-shots. And they're pretty good one-shots, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty good stories. I guess I put them down here, just to kind of like help the flow of the show.
There you go.
Looking at producer level eyes. So, Steve, why don't you kick us off with the first one-shot, a continuation of a story we talked about, I think, last week.
That it is, and currently, Hellboy: The Crooked Man is a movie that will be made soon. Along those lines, Jack Kesey has been cast as Hellboy. He'll be the 3rd actor to portray Hellboy, behind Ron Perlman and David Harbour. Kesey is known for playing Black Tom Cassidy in Deadpool 2 and a role in FX's The Strain.
Oh yeah, I forget. I gotta watch Deadpool 2 again.
Same. I was literally thinking Black Tom was in that.
Yeah, I remember him being in it. I don't remember what he does. I just remember Deadpool making jokes about like, I don't know if I'm comfortable calling you Black Tom when you're a white guy or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, should we call you something else? I remember that joke. So I kind of like that. You know, we talked like neither of us have seen the David Harbour Hellboy.
Right.
I liked the Guillermo del Toro ones enough.
Yeah.
I liked Ron Perlman in that role for sure. I was not familiar with the character before I saw the first Hellboy movie for sure, and I'm more familiar with him now, obviously. But I think this Jack Kesey, yeah, he's been in stuff, but like he's not like a known actor really.
Right.
Like Ron Perlman, similar to Clancy Brown, Ron Perlman was like a classic that guy actor. Like, oh, it's that dude. Oh, it's that guy. I've seen him before. Oh, it's that guy. And David Harbour, like, he's not the biggest actor in the world, but like so many people knew him from Stranger Things. Like, oh, it's Hopper. You know, there's like you identify that actor with something else.
Right.
And I think Jack Kesey might be the right level of fame to take on Hellboy in a way that he could end up being a definitive Hellboy. I guess, where we don't like, you and I, we both like the Deadpool movies. We don't remember really his performance as Black Tom Cassidy at all.
Right.
It's not like we're like, he can't be Hellboy, he's Black Tom Cassidy or whatever. So I feel like I think it's very possible for, if this movie's good, he could end up playing Hellboy for a while. I hope he's good.
Yeah, that'd be good. Like we were saying, it's not a bad franchise by any stretch. I'd be more than happy for them to keep pumping things out. So
the more we talk about a new Hellboy movie, the more I want to watch the David Harbour one, because I mean, like, it bombed when it came out, but I don't think it bombed because it was bad. I think it bombed because it was still like early post-COVID, or still kind of during COVID, or maybe it was right before. I don't remember actually when it came out, now that I think about it, but nobody went to see it. But also, I think either people didn't care, or it wasn't marketed right, or whatever.
Right.
But like, I don't think it's an abysmal film from what I've heard. I would like to see it. I don't know. Maybe I'll let you know. I'll watch it and I'll let you know if it's how 1 to 10 on the abysmal scale.
Oh, Mila Jovovich is in it too.
The David Harbour one?
And
cool.
Daniel Day Kim and Ian McShane and
Oh, I remember Daniel Day Kim being in it. Yeah, that's right.
Thomas Hayden Church, Sandman himself.
That's a pretty strong cast right there.
Yeah.
And it was written and or directed by the guy Neil something that wrote The Descent, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Neil Marshall.
Neil Marshall. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, he's a talented guy. So I don't know. Maybe it's terrible. I don't know. But I think maybe it was just like a lack of enthusiasm for the character. And hopefully, like, trailers for this movie or whatever can give us a little bit more enthusiasm for project for the character. Speaking of people not having enthusiasm for franchises, our last one shot is a quote from Chris Pine, wonderful actor, professional handsome gentleman. Chris Pine has commented on the troubled production behind Star Trek 4. As we've mentioned Star Trek 4 a couple times, they announced the Star Trek 4 was happening with the cast of the J.J. Abrams series, and apparently none of the cast were told that was going to happen until after the announcement had been made. It was always kind of crazy stuff, and then the director left to make Fantastic Four, I think. Is it that Matt Shakeman?
Yeah.
Is the one that's making Fantastic Four. He was going to do Star Trek 4, and he left Star Trek 4 to make Fantastic Four. So all this stuff's been going on, but Matt Shakeman also recently said that Star Trek 4 isn't dead. They're just going to move forward with a different director, and they're looking for a director. Chris Pine plays Captain Kirk in this series, if you didn't know, and he was asked about it doing an interview this week. I think it was in like Esquire or Variety or something. But in regards to Star Trek 4, he said the following: I don't know anything. In Star Trek land, the actors are usually the last people to find out anything. I know costume designers that have read scripts before the actors. Is it weird, I ask, to be the captain and know so little about what you're signing on to? I would say it's frustrating. It doesn't really foster the greatest sense of partnership, but it's how it's always been. I love the character. I love the people. I love the franchise. But to try to change the system in which things are created, I just can't do it. I don't have the energy. So it seems like it might be a classic Star Trek thing to not tell the actors until the last minute.
Yeah, recurring theme.
Yeah, and he seems up for returning if it's a good story. And I think in this same piece in which he gave this quote, J.J. Abrams was also asked about it, and he said that it's the best story they had since his first Star Trek movie. So J.J. Abrams believed in it, which is I guess a good sign.
He believed in Rise of Skywalker too.
Here's the thing about that. I really want to know how much he believed in that script versus how much Lucasfilm and Disney were saying, you need to make this movie within 1 year. We're going to pay you a boatload of money, and you're going to make this movie, and it's not going to be good. but you need to make it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he knows that Rise of Skywalker is not his best film, but I think he was like probably put in a position where he couldn't say no, and he had to do it. And we're never going to find that out until Bob Iger dies or Kathleen Kennedy retires or J.J. Abrams retires or whatever. But I don't know. The more I think about it, the less I think. I mean, certainly J.J. is at fault for a lot of the mistakes of Rise of Skywalker, but
I mean, he wrote the thing.
He co-wrote it.
And
I agree with
directed
you.
it.
I agree with you, but he was also given a year to start writing and make a movie. And that came from Disney. Disney was the one that was not budging on the release date for Skywalker. You know what I mean? And I can imagine that he was like, can you give me 6 more months? And they were like, no. You know what I mean? Like, So I think he went in being like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I'm going to give it all I can do, but I got a clock ticking on me right now, you know? So the first draft is what it's going to be. Anyway, I don't know that. I would love some kind of bean spilling when it comes to behind the scenes on Rise of Skywalker. But as far as Star Trek 4 is concerned, Chris Pine doesn't know anything. J.J. Abrams thinks it's great. Will we ever see a Star Trek 4? I don't know. I've never seen the Star Trek Beyond, the Star Trek 3, but I've heard it's really good. And I should probably watch that at some point.
I still haven't seen the third one either.
Yeah. First one I thought was great. Second one I thought was fine.
It was a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie. But so I was kind of turned off by the third one, but I heard the third one. Yeah. So we shall see.
Absolutely.
We shall see. And when shall we see? I don't know, but not this week. Sometime soon. No, probably in the next couple of years. Not soon at all. If you are listening to this and you're wondering why we're not talking about Mandalorian season 3, episode 1, look to your podcast feed, my friend, and find that we did a separate episode just to talk about Mandalorian season 3, episode 1. And you can listen to our thoughts there. And just a heads up, we might be off next week. A rare off week for us, as I am going to be out of town. And I guess if there's like a big, some kind of big news, Steve, maybe you'll jump on with a friend or something and do a quick recap or something. But who knows? Yep. It's up in the air. And I'm not going to be back until, I don't know if it's going to be worth doing an episode. I'm not going to be available till like Tuesday night at the earliest. So
yeah, we'll come up with something.
We'll play it by ear. But ladies and gentlemen, gays and gays, the next episode that we do will be our 100th episode of this show. Wild. Will we have any special guests? Probably not. Will we have any big surprise reveals? Probably not. But
if we do, it'll be a surprise.
Sure. Maybe for us too. It'll be a surprise. But I think that's all I got. Steve, you got anything else for tonight?
No, I think that'll about wrap it. I'd say if y'all are listening still, go and make sure you're subscribed to us. Leave us a review, be it YouTube, be it Twitch, be it your podcatcher of choice. And get a hold of us on the socials, Multiverse Report, Multiverse RPT on Twitter, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
That's right. And we'll see you most likely in 2 weeks. And until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the multiverse.